Hi, I'm John Knowles, software trainer for Adobe, and in this video we'll be talking about transcription and text-based editing, two great features that will definitely speed up your workflow in Premiere Pro. Let's take a look. All right, I have my sample project open here. By the way, I've configured a custom workspace for myself with the project window down here a little bit lower and a nice big column over here on the left. This is currently holding a production with one of my production projects open here. This is the text-based editing project. And I also have the text panel dock there. We'll be getting into that in a minute. I liked having that nice and big there on the left-hand side. Now, in terms of transcription, you have options. You can choose to auto-transcript, or you can transcript items individually once they're already imported into your project. To auto-transcribe everything, you can go to your settings here in the Premiere Pro menu, and down here at the bottom, there is the transcription option. And you can see right here, there is a checkbox to automatically transcribe clips. And you have preferences there, all imported clips or only clips that are imported into a sequence. And you can have the option to separate speakers. All right. If you're multiple people talking in a clip, you can separate those speakers individually and name them. That way you can always tell them apart in the transcript. And you can also enable language auto detection. And the default language will be used as a fallback if it can't find it. This is the current list of languages as of this version of Premiere Pro that I'm using that can be automatically recognized by the program. Now, I'm going to keep that off for now. I like to turn on that setting manually. I don't need to automatically transcribe all of my clips. That option is up to you. If you have a huge batch of, let's say, interview footage or documentary footage, you need it all transcribed, go ahead and turn that feature on and just let Premiere Pro go to town, transcribe everything you import into the project. If you want to be a little more selective, or if you only have a few clips in your project that need transcripts, maybe have a handful of interviews but a ton of B-roll or action footage or something like that that does not require transcription, maybe leave that off and just do it individually. I'll show you how to do that right now. So I'm going to go here to the import window, and before I bring anything in, we have some options over here under import settings. You can also turn on automatic transcription right here in this dialog box. You can there enable language auto detection, separate the speakers, and again, set the preferences for whether the clips are in a sequence or all imported clips. So anything I select over here would automatically be transcribed with this switch on. I'm going to go ahead and just select this one here, this little add cut down, and import it and bring it in. There it is right there. I will load it in the source monitor. And if I go here under text and check the progress, there we go. You can see it imported it, and it is currently checking the speech-to-text transcriptions. Now, again, you don't have to transcribe on import. You can choose to do it after the fact. So if you want to bring in a clip and then transcribe it later, let me show you how to do that. We're going to go back to the import window here and make sure that automatic transcription is off. And I will bring in another clip here. This is just a standalone interview. There we are. So it is here. I'll put that away. And here's that athlete interview right there. Notice now that the text panel says transcribe source. So there is no transcription attached to this clip at the moment. So I'm going to go ahead and hit transcribe. And again, this pop-up dialog box, what is the language? And do we want to separate speakers? In this case, yes, I do want to separate speakers because I believe we'll hear some of the crew talking and I want to be able to tell them apart in the transcript. And then I just hit transcribe and I'll get a progress bar. Now, all of this is happening on device, meaning it's not going out to the cloud for this transcription. Your computer is doing all of the work here. It's not sending any data up to Adobe's servers. And there we go. The transcript is ready. And you can see it's been divided into speaker 1, speaker 2, even unknown. So there's 3 speakers there at least. And we can see transcript with timecode for this clip right here loaded up in the source monitor. Now, keep in mind, you can also transcribe just raw audio. So here is a multi-channel clip. I can see there's a couple of microphones here and maybe a stereo mix, and it's just a raw audio file. I can choose to transcribe that as well. If you have multi-channel audio and you choose to transcribe it, you can actually choose which channel you want here. So that was 4 channels of audio. I can choose to do a mix down, or if I'm pretty sure 1 or 2 of the channels has the audio that I want here for the transcript, I'll just click on that and transcribe just from the one channel, which might be a little bit cleaner, have less background noise, less crew chatter, that type of thing embedded in there. So that transcription finished there. I'm going to go back to that other clip we had of the athlete. And the text window automatically changes the transcript based on what you have selected. Now it can choose from the source monitor or the sequence. See that? It switches back and forth based on what you select. That is determined down here at the bottom left. It says follow active monitor. You can uncheck that and actually tell it which one to pull the transcript from, the source monitor or the sequence monitor, by clicking these two buttons here. Otherwise, leave that on, and whatever window you select, the transcript will automatically update. Now I'm just going to hit play here. All right, so see how the highlight moves as we play through the footage. That little blue highlight is going to change.
Typically what I would normally do is get up with the cross-country runners.
So that highlight is dynamic and it moves along with the speaker. Now I'm going to briefly go over the rest of the text panel here. So we already covered this section here at the bottom about which active monitor the transcript is following. Over here we have a little slider. This is just going to change the size of the text inside this window. If you like it bigger or smaller, leave that in the middle. These are your transcription view options here. And here are all the things that you can view inside the transcript. And we turn on filler words just to take a look at that. Filler words are predetermined by the language, and they've been programmed into the system. So they may be things like or in English, and Premiere Pro can automatically detect those. And just like with pauses, you can choose to batch remove those later if you want to, and remove them from your edit in one shot. Let me show you how to do that in a little bit. And you can choose how you're going to search through the transcript as well. So several options to play around with here in the transcript view options. I'll go ahead and hit save. Up here at the top, we have that search window. So if I want to look for the word fun, I'll just type that in, and those are all the sections where this athlete says the word fun. It's going to highlight it in all of the transcript. Clear that out. Now, next to that is a funnel. The funnel will allow you to look at things like the filler words that it detects. And here it's just labeled as filler. You can also change that to pauses. So that right there is under, again, this funnel shape here. This option here is to automatically set in and out points. If you want to do text-based editing, this button actually has to be on for that feature to work. So if you're trying to text-based edit and nothing is happening, go ahead and make sure that this switch is actually on. Next to that is an option to split a segment. You can take a large chunk of text and actually split it into smaller pieces. This option here with the pencil allows you to edit the text itself. So if you find a spelling mistake here, so he's not saying rapper, he's saying track and field athlete there. His vocals got a little bit low and the program wasn't able to track it. I'm going to click in that section and click on that edit pencil, and now I can edit this. Track and field athlete question mark, and click out of it. There we go. So I've just corrected that text. You have to have this pencil activated to edit the text. And these other buttons will not be highlighted until we're ready to start doing some text-based editing or creating captions. And there are 3 dots here for various export options. I'll go over those in a moment. Now, the first thing I want to do with this transcript is change the speaker names. So you see here I have speaker 1, speaker 2. I want to modify that so I know exactly who is talking. So I click on the 3 dots here next to speaker 1, and I can edit the speaker names. And she said her name was Jenny, so I'm going to call her Jenny. And then speaker 2 looks like the director, so I'm going to label that as director. And it did pick up a 3rd speaker in some sections. I'm going to call that just crew. That was probably perhaps someone on camera or the first AD. And if you detect other speakers, if you hear other speakers in there that are not picked up by the transcript, you could add them right here. Go ahead and hit save. And there we go. That instantly relabeled everything that it detected as Jenny or the director or the interviewer in this case, as well as some additional crew. And if it is wrong, you just click on the drop-down menu and change it. So that was the director, not the additional crew talking to Jenny there. So a little bit of cleanup before you get started. Go through your transcript, check the spelling, check proper nouns, and then also make sure your speakers are correctly labeled. Now notice if I switch over to a sequence that already has 2 clips edited into it, and these are already transcribed, the option to change the speakers is not there. We don't see the 3 dots. So you're going to want to do those in the source monitor. You want to open the original clip up from the bins as a source and then modify the speakers in there. And ideally, you want to do that before you even get started editing, so it's not something you want to take care of once it's already in the sequence. Now let's take a look at text-based editing. I'm going to create a new sequence here for this interview, and just very quickly grab this one. And I'm going to call this one interview 2 and put that into this part of the project here. And I have that timeline open and I have this clip selected in my source monitor. Now, normally you would just go in here and select in and out and then do an insert edit. But with text-based editing, you can actually do that based on the transcript. So I'm going to scroll up here to where she introduces herself. Hi, my name is Jenny Wu and I'm a sprinter. I'm going to highlight that. And now you'll notice that these options up here are now active. We have insert and override, just like we would have from the source monitor here. So I'm going to insert that little section into the timeline.
Hi, my name is Jenny Wu, and I am a sprinter.
There we go. So we can keep doing that. I'm going to bounce back to the text window here. Let me zoom in a little bit. There we go. And then going back to the source monitor, that is the transcript that pops up. Again, everything is labeled so I can tell what is Jenny and what is the director or another member of the crew. So I'll just grab this section here and insert that as well. And I can keep going. Looks like she stumbled a bit there. And yeah, she definitely does not say I want to be a psycho. And there we go. Grab that section next and insert. So there we go. I very quickly built the introduction to this interview here as part of the sequence. When I'm on the sequence panel, this is the sequence transcript. So it's just those sections that I brought in from the main transcript from the source window. Now you can use text-based editing like this to build out a new sequence using the source monitor and the transcribed clip inside of it. Or you can start with a sequence that already has clips in it, and as long as they have transcriptions attached, you can then use text-based editing inside that sequence to add edits automatically and close those gaps. Let me show you. So now I have two multicam clips on the timeline here. I have the athlete and her coach, and I'm going to use their transcripts to do some editing right here on the timeline. So you'll notice the text panel does update as I play or scrub through. And these are pulling from the source clips inside those multicams. Now, let's say, for example, I want to quickly delete all the chatter here before Jenny says her name, which is right here.
Hi, my name is Jenny Wu, and I am a sprinter.
So let's just remove all of that beforehand. So we highlight all of it like so. And we can right click and go delete. Now, if I use delete right here, it will simply chop that section out, or I can choose delete ripple, which will do a quick ripple edit and put that, basically close that gap.
Hi, my name is Jenny Wu, and I am a sprinter.
All right, I'm going to stop right there, and I want to insert the coach from his interview into that spot. So I'm going to remember where that is. Okay, so that's right there. So I'll go to the coach now. Same thing. I'm going to remove that chatter right there. Delete ripple. And there is him saying his name and that he is a track coach. So what I can do is highlight this section right here, right click and cut or extract. Now that removed it from this section of the timeline, and I'm going to put it somewhere else because now that I've cut it, it is actually on the clipboard. So here we go. Right after Jenny's saying that she is a sprinter, I'm going to right click in there and I'm going to go paste. And I'll zoom in on that section of the timeline. There we go. And remove that in and out. So again, you can grab any section that you want. Again, I'll highlight just a random section here. Cut and extract, which will ripple delete, close the gap, and then find the place where you want to put it on the timeline. Right here, and we will just, again, right click and paste, and it will drop it right in. So you can do text-based editing right there on the timeline just by selecting chunks of text in the text panel and copying it, extracting it, and pasting it somewhere else just using the transcript. So it's a very quick way to assemble your first rough cut of a sequence. I'll grab another section here. So I'll grab one of Jenny's quotes right here. And again, I will cut extract, and I'll put that a little later in the timeline. I don't even have to right click over here in the text panel if I don't want to. The standard paste insert command will basically do the same thing, drop it in, and again, the text follows. You see Jenny's section of the transcript has now been pushed down here into the coach's section. So the text will follow the clip wherever it goes. So you can see the power of text-based editing, doing it right there on the timeline. Just highlight the sections of text that you want to cut, extract, move them to where you want them to go, remove pieces that you don't want, and you can basically configure your rough cut very, very quickly just based on the transcript. Now let me show you some other things you can do editing-wise in here, and that is remove things like pauses and filler words. Normally when you're cutting interviews, you want to remove those and pull out those pauses and then cover them with B-roll or cutaways and things like that. In this case, we're going to use the funnel, and we're going to select filler words. All right, and again, those are based on the language. That might be an or an in English, for example. And you can see that they're all selected here. And now that they're all selected in this version of Premiere Pro, I can hit this delete button right here. And I have the option to extract or lift. All right, lift will simply remove them but leave gaps. If I extract, it will close the gaps. And I can delete either the one that it found, or I can delete all of them. There's 29 filler words that it found. I'm going to go ahead and delete all and see what happened down there on the timeline. See all of those edit points now. So it removed all the filler words that it found. We'll go back to the funnel here. I'm going to select pauses. There are 88 pauses in this transcript. I'm going to hit delete again, and I will batch delete and extract all of those pauses. There we go. So that's text-based editing, and you can see how you can very quickly use the text panel to find the text you're looking for with the search tools, highlight it, cut it, extract it, paste it, move things around, eliminate the filler words and the pauses and any of the chatter that you don't need, and do your rough assembly right there with just the text panel and the copy and paste tools. It's very fast and very easy. So you also have options for exporting this transcript. So this is the sequence I have now with all the cuts, and I want to export this, maybe send it to a producer or a director, someone else to review. I'm going to click on these three dots in the upper right-hand corner here of the transcript panel, and you see that there are options here for exporting. And instead of export transcript, that is a proprietary format, by the way, that's just used for Premiere. Export to text file will export a basic plain text file, a .txt, which you can open up in any editor that you want. In this case, I have it already saved out here in TextEdit, and you can see there is a transcript, and it does have the time code as well as the speaker listed. Now, if you want to generate that inside a CSV file, you can also do that as well. Just export to CSV and then open that up in Microsoft Excel if you want to, for example. Now, you also have the option here to generate a static transcript. Your transcript in this sequence right now is live. As you make edits to either the video or the text here in the panel, the transcript will dynamically update. That is not available in a static transcript. In other words, it will not live update, and if you update your clips, the transcript will remain. So if you want to remove that kind of live updating functionality, you can convert this now to a static transcript. You will get this warning that will tell you it will no longer update, and you can set some preferences there. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep this live for now. You can also quickly generate a static transcript for a sequence where the source clips have not been transcribed. In this case, I have a new sequence here with a new clip on it. It has not been transcribed. I could transcribe that source clip, but that source clip might be hours long, and I really just want to transcribe this section in here. So rather than transcribe the source, I can generate a static transcript just for that chunk of footage that's in the timeline right now, and it's only going to analyze what is in the sequence and not the entire original source clip, and that will be a lot quicker. And finally, you can use this transcript to quickly create captions. Up here in the top of the transcript window, there's this button here that says CC. You can use that to create captions for this sequence here based on the live transcript. There's also an option under the three dots to create captions there as well. I'm just going to go ahead and click this button for now. And you want to pick a preset. Now, if you are going to broadcast and you have a specific default caption style. Here in the United States, we would use 608 or 708, for example. You want to pick that default in here. There's other options in there for Australia and EBU, for example. Now, if you want to create subtitles, in other words, text that will appear on screen all the time, you can do that. And those you can style. I'm going to select a 708 default for closed captions here. And I can pick which stream I want it to come out on and whether there is a style attached. The maximum length in characters per line, duration in seconds, gaps between frames, whether I want single or double line captions. And I'll hit create. It will read the transcript and put the captions there. And I can see a brand new captions track here above the rest of my video layers. It's on its own kind of section here of the timeline. It says 708 right there. It has sync lock. It has a C1, which tells you that it is a caption track, and it has an eyeball for turning those on or off. You can also create subtitles, and the difference there being captions are going to be styled by the player, whether that's broadcast television, YouTube, whatever your video player is, those will style the captions based on the stream. Subtitles, you can actually assign a style to. So I'll go back here to my transcript, and I will create captions again, but this time I'm going to choose subtitle, and I'll keep all that the same, create captions again. And now I have two streams here. I can see subtitle is above the 708, and the subtitle stream I can style. And by style, I mean going into the essential graphics panel, like so. And I'll select one of the subtitles. There we go. And I'm going to give that a different font. Let me make sure. Let me zoom in here on the timeline. Actually select the one on the playhead so we can see it. And this is covered in another video lesson here that has to do with the essential graphics panel. But essentially what you want to do is style this to look the way you want. I'll pick a new font here. There we go, a nice sans serif font. I will change that color to something that pops just a little bit more. Brighter yellowish orange, like so. I like that. I could then change the positioning if I want to, or the size. It looks a little bit big. I can bring that down a little bit. There we go. And that will be the new style here. And I can push that to the entire track to make sure that they all look the same, because right now they don't match. So I'm going to set that as a style, like so. Redefine style, all captions on track. That's that little button that's right next to the word none. Hit OK. And now all of the captions, or in this case, the subtitles, are going to match. So very quickly there, you can set a single style for all of your subtitles, hit one button and make sure it all updates. If you go back and you want to change that style, no problem. So I'll go back here to this caption. I want to increase that point size again. I'll hit 48. And again, click this button here, redefine style, all captions on track. And that will quickly change all of the captions again to be the same point size. If I want to switch back and forth between the subtitles and the captions, I can just very quickly click the eyeball. You can only have one active at a time, so you don't have to deselect the other one. You just select it once, and that's the one that you'll see. Just switch back and forth. So one stream at a time. Now, once you've generated a subtitle track or a captions track, there will be a new section of the text panel here. So next to transcript, you see captions is available. And if you want to, you can double click and you can edit the text there if you need to. So I'm going to go view the captions here and not the subtitles. And you'll see the track name that you're working on in this case is caption 1 track, which is my 708 closed captions. That will appear here next to the editing pencil. And if I switch back again to the subtitles, you'll see that that is now on caption track 2. Now, if you're going to create captions on a sequence, by the way, that has no transcript, and you actually have an external file to bring in, you can choose to import captions from a file like so, and it has to be an SRT format for it to work. So there we go, and you can change that either to closed captions or subtitle again, and choose the start point, and it brings them in from that external document as opposed to transcribed captions on the clip itself. That's it for transcription and text-based editing in Premiere Pro. Hopefully this video was helpful to you, whether you're coming from software that has similar features or this is all brand new. You can see the power of these tools for really speeding up your workflow and making your editing that much more efficient. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you on the next one.